back everyone to the Ashen Trials here. We have a matchup of Odyssey versus Paradox. We have Cybereye on the side of Paradox, starting us off on the Blight on Suffocation Hit. I am joined by my co-caster Tyro, and we are hopping straight into this matchup here. We have Blight, a pretty S-tier set, a very fast-paced set. Cyber immediately heading to the bottom side of the map, trying to find out any ratting survivors, stealthing out the Corrupt. But so far, no traces are yet to be found. Tyra, what are your initial thoughts on this matchup here?
Yeah, I mean, Blight, like you said, very high impact killer. Right off the bat, we're going to get a chase as Inno was able to cleanse a totem that might have been a Undying totem. Now it looks like Inno's going to be playing around this pallet and an amazing use of Lithe in order to avoid getting hit there. But now it looks like our Blight is hot in pursuit, going to be going towards the pallet, kicking it, and continuing the onslaught off against Inno. Inno's doing a very good job, though, putting obstacles in between him and Cybereye, though. Cybereye not going to get the hit as Inno runs straight towards the shack, and I think Inno's about to make the pallet. Yeah, that's going to be a shack pallet drop and break. And now Cybereye, hot in pursuit, going to go back towards the bottom side. And it looks like he's actually going to be breaking chase and going back up towards the top side of the map. I think he thought that chase was too long.
Yeah, especially that Inno lasting pretty long against Blight, but he does have a lot of resources to his advantage. But also in the background, that's an Undying and a Ruin Totem both found. So that's 2 perks down for Cybereye. Now he only has the Corrupt, which has about like 10 seconds left on it, and then Eruption for the rest of the game. So it's going to be pretty rough for Cybereye here, only having basically 1 perk for the rest of the match. We're going to find Deco on the top side there, stealth all the way up, getting a lot of progress on 11. Has his filler pile to play around, he's going to drop it straight in Cybereye's face. Wins a couple 50-50s, but your luck can only run so thin. Cybereye now can just break and zone. This should be a pretty easy down with all the rush tokens available, and I think Deco is just going to take the down in the comp corner to buy as much time as possible. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. Deco barely making it to the Z-wall before Cybereye's swing can hit. But they're stuck around a Z-wall, not the strongest position to be in the game.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, that's a pretty good death spot from Deco. Deco not having much to work with, still bought so much time up against a Blight. It does look like Angels is in the area, going to be set up for a pull with the Deliverance. Exactly where he needs to be. But meanwhile, across the map, we are going to see a gen pop. That's Gree doing a good job of getting that gen going. But it does look like Gree, yeah, Gree might have baited Cybereye to come up and check the gen by waiting to pop it. But now Gree, oh, very expert dodge coming through as Gree's going to be able to make it without dropping that resource. And now Cybereye forced to go back to deal with Deco. And that's going to be Angels getting a very quick reset and also getting that Deliverance.
Deliverance online. Deco healthy once again, back in chase. Cybereye goes for the swing through the pallet, but Deco just greets it. But the second time around, the swing does ring true. Now, Deco's kind of in a very awkward position there. You're taking the M1 against the Blight, so they have all the rush tokens left to catch up. And on top of that, Deco only has this 1 pallet to work around. Cybereye has all tokens available, but it doesn't look like they are using any of it. Okay, can someone tell Tyber that they're playing Blight? Like, they have every single rush token available, waiting at the dead hard, but still has a little bit of time with a swing left. That's going to be the down onto Deco and an Eruption proc onto 11.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good chase, all things considered. I mean, Deco, again, just using minimal resources and buying so much time, but very well played from Cybereye to wait that out. And now we're going to see another chase with Angels. Angels does have the benefit of being the deli survivor, which gives him an extra layer of invulnerability. But that unhook is going to come through, and now Deco going to be trying to make it down the map towards the other side. But it looks like Cybereye going to be in hot pursuit trying to get the cutoff. And I don't know if Deco's going to have enough endurance in order to make it towards a pallet. It does look like the pallet is right here. The swing does not come through, and Deco, instead of dropping it, is going to be trying to play around the Blight power and actually expertly calls out the position of the Blight, doing a very good job of just keeping the Blight on his toes. And it looks like Deco goes for a dead hard. Thought that Cybereye might have dashed there.
The E key was too tempting to press for Deco there. Gonna be stuck on a TNL, not the strongest tile in the world, but does have the teammate of Angels available for the body block. But Cybereye finds the angle to cut through. But in the meantime, this has been a very efficient a ton of, because now there's only one gen left to complete. Now, Sakurai does have that Eruption online. Eruption in a 3v1 with Blight is very, very nice to have, but it doesn't even matter as the last gen will just pop in his face. The gen efficiency on these serves is absolutely insane. Innocence caught on this pallet here, goes for the swing, but misses very narrowly here. That's opening up the window for Angels and Greed to get the gates prepared for their teammate to escape. But I don't know where the nearest gate is. So I don't know if Angels has a clear shot to make it. No, the gate is right there, but I don't know if anyone's on it right now.
I mean, we do see that the gate is 99, and they're just trying to heal in order to make way for the body blocks, I'm guessing. Looks like Cyber is actually trying to bloodlust Inno at this pallet, but Inno very expertly just going to be standing still, not giving that bloodlust and canceling that chase. And Inno, one of the best survivors in comp, in my opinion, just doing a very good job just holding this angle and knows exactly what he has to do and just not giving an inch.
Yeah.
That's going to be a chase around this filler as Inno going to be going right back towards that pallet. And I think Inno's going to be trying to zone him towards the bottom side with that pallet drop. And it does look like, oh man, this is very close, but it looks like Cyber just wants to kind of hold this position, and Cyber going to go for a swing and a miss, and that's going to allow Inno to make so much distance up towards the top side of the map. Yeah, look, Inno already over here towards this other gate, and it looks like Angels is also here in order to escort his teammate out, and that is, in fact, going to be 3 out the gate. An expertly played game from Team Paradox.
Yeah, absolutely. The survivors were just so efficient with those gens, and Deco did what they absolutely had to do as the tunnel up, buying enough time as possible and dying in the right spots to get those gens done. So very well played. So stick around. We'll take a quick break as we swap the sides, and we'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. We are back with the Ashen Trials in week 1, and we are back with Odyssey versus Paradox. And this time we have Gree on the Blight. Gree, very well-known Blight player, going up against Team Odyssey on the survivors. Odyssey, a very stacked group of survivors as well. I'm Tyro, one of your casters. I'm joined by Monarch. And Monarch, we have a chase underway already.
Yeah, we see here with Greed trying to get the very early tag onto Cyberite, our previous Blight player, but unfortunately does not have quite the swing range, the lunge range to get so. But we are going to find someone else stealthing around the edge, but it doesn't feel like Gree wants to commit to that. Gree wants to commit to this survivor they see with the scratch marks. They want to find them before they can reach any of their bottom gens, and with that undying value, seeing the aura through the walls, able to get the early tag onto Blake with that M1, meaning that they have all rush tokens available, and they don't need it. Nope. Don't need the rush tokens at all. That is a pure M1 killer right there.
Yeah, Blake unfortunately getting found by that Undying, and just all the value that comes with aura reading around a tile like that. I mean, that is just an incredible first down from Gree. Very good perk usage, but now we're going to see another tag onto Jules. Jules also found by an Undying totem as well. These dull totems are heavily in favor of Paradox right now. But that tag onto Jules is going to allow Gree. Oh my gosh. This is the most undying value I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, it looks like Gree is going to be finding Covet, who was coming through for the unhook, and that is going to be a pallet drop. But I mean, this is this is crazy. Look at all this undying value. Yeah, so Gree's just going to be getting another tag, and that's going to force Cybereye, who's the only health survivor, to try to rotate off the gen maybe. No, it looks like Cyber is very afraid of that Ruin chewing up that high priority gen. And with that, Gree is going to have quite a bit of free reign, as the survivors can't exactly go for this. Oh, but the down onto Covet is going to secure a slug as well. Jules injured, camping a pallet. Meanwhile, Cybereye still not going for the save, still wants to get on that high priority gen, and it looks like that's going to be a second stage for Blake. And with 2 stages on the board, oh my gosh. It does look like Gree actually finds Cybereye, and that's going to be another injury.
Okay, well, let's do some math, people. Let's see. That's one survivor on the hook, 1 survivor that's injured, 1 survivor that's injured, 1 survivor that's injured. That is 3 injured survivors so far, and we are not even 1 gen in to the game so far. That's more in undying value. Like, I know it doesn't matter, but like I still saw the aura at the end there. It didn't matter in the end. Like you said earlier, that Cybereye was scared about Ruin. They need to be scared about Undying more. The value that this perk brings, even with the aura value, is insane right now. So yeah, that's another down onto Cyber right now. That's gonna be Blake, probably hitting third stage already. And that's also not a board left on the thread. Covet, you just gotta leave this pallet alone, man. At that point, this pallet's not gonna protect you, man. Just find a different pallet. Oh, that's gonna be another attack onto Covet. And now that reveals, that leaves Jules as the last person to try and pick Cyberite up, pick Blake up, heal both of them. You know, get a gen done, do everyone's taxes, get the groceries done, pick up the kids from school, and even then, that's probably still not enough to get a gen.
Yeah, Covet's still in chase. I mean, Blake is gonna just die on hook. It looks like. It looks like Jules was not able to rotate down in time. Cyberite is going to be picked up, but that's already a death, and that's the Tycon right there. Is the 3 stages that we see secured, and we're still at 5 generators remaining. Covet going to be playing around this God Rock, just going to be holding distance, but it looks like, yeah, the dash is not going to be enough as Covet makes it back to the pallet, going to be dropping it and vaulting across, but now it looks like, oh my goodness, what is going on? All right, it looks like Greed just broke it from the other side and is going to continue the chase over here on the side of the map.
Well, that's down on Covet, and unless unless like the most insane survivor gameplay we've ever seen comes out here, I think this should be the win for Gree. Like, they have the free like pickup on that, the free hook, but like Gree's still trying to hunt for a little bit more there. Finds that gen that honestly had a lot of progress at the beginning. It's now been reduced to basically nothing right now. Trying to look for someone else, does end up finding Cybereye. Jules hasn't been like found at all ever since they took that first initial like tag. That is Jules rotating for the pickup on the Covet. Instead, we're gonna continue onto the chase with Cyber. They're trying to throw the firecracker, but Gree is not looking in that direction. Still has a pallet to their disposal, but Gree going for the no-look pallet stun there. Cyberite just gonna hit it for Shaq, but without the pallet, it's a lot weaker of a resource, especially against the Blight. But Gree is not interested anymore in Cyberite. Rushing back to the top side of the map, trying to find anyone, honestly. Does allow the reset to happen between Covet and Jules, but is immediately back onto Covet. Has this filler pallet behind main. Probably just gonna drop it. No, it goes right through it. Gree trying to predict with the swing. It's happened the last 2 times, but third time is the charm, and that's another one as well. And that's finally Undying done. The threat is eliminated, folks. Undying is no longer in play.
Yeah, even though that perk is down, though, we still have the Ruin that was chewing through those generators, and that is still going to be up, and Gree only needs this last down. We see the Ruin right here in the middle of the chase, and it looks like Gree actually going to be leaving Covet and going to pressure down the map. Gree probably wants to try to get this 4K5 from what I can see. I don't see why you would lead that chase, but it does look like Gree's just going to be pressuring Cybereye off that generator. In the meantime, I bet Jules is able to finish this gen across the map as Cybereye, yeah, Cybereye is not going to be chased very much longer. And now Gree looking around for the location of Jules.
Yeah, Jules has been pretty stealthy so far. Okay, never mind. They've actually been the loudest survivor on Earth, planet Earth, known to man. That's gonna be a chase onto Jules immediately. Has running straight towards the T and L, not the strongest loop against the Blight, but it's just gonna take the M1 instead. All 5 rush tokens up for Gree. First bounce, second one. Gonna drop the power.
Oh my goodness.
But Gree reads it and reads the vault over. That's me down onto Jules. Covet is injured and spots Covet in the distance, trying to get progress onto main. With the Ruin still up, though, that is going to be chewing through main's progress as Covet is taken into chase. Tries to get a little bit of a swing, but gets caught between a rock and a tree place. Still has this filler palette to work with, though. The left-right mind games from Gree coming out here. Does actually end up getting the stun onto Gree, but that's supposed to be a break and zone for Covet, as I don't think Covet has anything else left. This is probably going to be a quick down onto the ace. Oh, never mind.
Oh, very good play, though, from Covet to force using the plot twist.
We're just taking the hook, then.
Yeah, I mean, he can't slug there because of plot twist. Plot twist would let Covet pick himself back up at full health, which is not something that you want, so that is going to force the hook, but at the same time, Gree going to be trying to spread out some pressure across the map, and does find Jules injured at the bottom side of the map. Now, with that unhook coming through, they might be able to pop that top side gen over there, but it looks like Covet actually chooses to use the plot twist instead of hopping on that gen with Cyber. So very interesting play coming through there, but at the same time, yeah, that's going to be a down onto Jules. And Gree, rather than go for that hook, it looks like he's just trying to get the slug and keep that 4K5 going, knowing that only one survivor is working on a gen right now, and it should not pop anytime soon. Finds the survivor and procs the ruin on the generator. And yeah, Cyber not even trying to stealth at this point. That's going to be a chase onto him up here at the top side of the map, where it looks like Covet is trying to go down and pick up Jules in the meantime.
At this point, I am very invested in getting this 4K5 for Gree here. Cyber does have a little bit more resources to play around with, does have this palette, obviously, is still going to get hit, though. Gree is very good with these hits where the Survivor's trying to crouch around the corner, trying to reduce their hitbox, but they still get the hit anyways, and now has to play 50-50s, wins one, wins a second one, actually. That allows Cyber to make it to the main window, but this is going to get swung through instead. In the background, though, Covet was able to get the plot twist up and was able to pick up Jules from the ground. Is not going to quite hit the tree, stops right before it, and still trying to hunt for the last two. Is going to end up spotting Covet fresh off of the plot twist, but the story has no more twists, as I think this is going to be a quick down for Gree. Covet doesn't have a lot to work with, though, but this does open the opportunity for Jules to rotate, and at this point, I feel like I should get like a penny every time I say that.
Yeah, Jules does manage to pick up Cyber going to go and reset with the inner strength. But yes, a Dead Hard coming through up against Gree. Gree going to be going for the pallet break. And now Covet yet again without resources and is going to be going down in this edge map. And are we going to see another slug come through? Yeah, Gree just being very greedy. I guess you can't spell greedy without Gree. Going to be continuously going for the play up here on the top side of the map, using that ruin to its full potential to try to secure a 4K5. But at the same time, I mean, that ruin's about to pop from Cyber, I think, and yeah, that's going to be a tag onto Cyber. Cyber's going to have to play around this main building. This pallet was dropped. The Lithe is going to come through and allow Cyber to make it towards the front of the building. But at the same time, Gree plays perfectly around it. And then now we just have this 50-50 pallet. And oh my goodness, the swing right through the pallet. And now it's going to be Covet picked up by Jules, but at the same time, Covet's still injured now. All the heals that Covet has in that build is now depleted. And Gree going to be playing around this 4K5 using the Eruption now instead of the Ruin.
Yeah, honestly, this is a pretty interesting scenario to be in, because when you have Eruption up and with so many gens up, you have the possibility of tagging, like, honestly 4 gens at a time and watching all of them explode at once. How likely is that to happen? I'm not sure. It seems like the survivors just want to focus on, like, these 2 gens to pop specifically, but who knows? Oh, this gen over here about this rock. At one point, this was a very high progress gen, but now it's just been reduced to almost nothing. As we're going to find Covet at the edge of the map with the strongest tile in the entire game, the Z-Wall. Absolutely will never be downed on it, ever, ever. And we're just going to take another hit on to Covet as Jules ends up rotating around to pick up Saburai. And I think Gree is doing this to get the Eruption, but also knows that they can do this with the Eruption taking a decent chunk out of the water tower, or I guess the tower gen, as now Greedy Gree is just bouncing between main and 1, trying to catch either Jules or Cyber, but the rotation does come through for the unhook.
Yeah, meanwhile, Cyber doing a very good job of stealthing this out, and that's going to force Gree to actually go back down. Amazing. I think that might be the turning point, depending on how long these chases can last. That's going to be Jules in chase. Gree does not get the bump in order to convert that into a tag. So now Jules going to have to play around the shack. That is going to be a vault, though, from Gree inside the shack. Now Jules has to be able to make this vault. No, I think Jules is just going to be taking the tag up the map. But as we've seen before, I mean, all the resources on this side are just depleted. And the only thing Jules has are these obstacles. Jules very expertly dodging the dash. And that's going to be a continued chase over here towards this dropped pallet gem. And Jules going to be forcing the locker grab in order to make enough time for maybe a gen to pop across the map. We're going to have to see. But no, it looks like Gree just still wants to go for the slug play. Is not hooking whatsoever here.
The year is 2030. Gree has downed Covet for the 45th time. A gen has still not popped yet, and we are still here. Eruption is going to be applied onto Cyberrise Gen as Covet's injured and Jules is on the ground. This might be the opportunity we're looking for to try and end this game. But we're still going. The pickup on to Jules is out, but that does mean by process of elimination, it was Covet who had to go for that pickup. And now with the eruption on the tower gen that Cybereye wanted to progress, that is going to be Covet out of the game. 2 members left to try and at this point, what's the objective? Pop a gen to prevent the 4K5? Like, at this point, that's what you're playing for.
Yeah, I mean, we do have Cybereye, the last injured or last healthy survivor. Can Cybereye last in time for Jules to get a gen pop? At this point, I figured that's just the win condition because we are just playing so hard around this 4K5. Cybereye going to be using the Lithe in order to confuse Gree and make him play around this snake tile, but is still going to get the tag. Gree just playing so well today on the Blight. And with that tag, Cybereye is going to be going straight back up towards the top side of the map, but it looks like Gree wants to go and find Jules, who was working on a bottom side gen.
Honestly, at this point, if Odyssey managed to pop even 1 gen, in my heart, they've won this match. In my heart, if they prevent the 4K5, they've won this match. But it's looking very unlikely, as both Jules and Cybereye are injured. They can't really meet up for a reset that effectively, and Eruption is on basically every gen. So if one of them goes down, that's going to spell the end of it. I, like, hear Jules, but I don't see Jules. Never mind, I see Jules. They're right there. They're in front of the screen, and the gen popped! We got a gen pop!
The gen is popping in the distance. Jules is down in the basement, but yet again, Gree gonna be going up towards the top side of the map and trying to get the down just to claim the 4K4 at this point. Gree worked so hard for that 4K5 for no reason. Oh my gosh.
I can't believe the most hype I'm feeling right now is them popping 1 gen. Like, that's the most hype we've been in this, like, Gree trying to secure the 4K5 for so long that I legitimately got so excited at a gen pop. Oh wait, Cybereye managed to rotate all the way down, slipping directly under Gree's nose to get the pickup on Jules. However, process of elimination, there's only one location that both of them can be, and that's exiting the basement. And now, like, we hear Jules. I did not realize that V was this loud when, like, she was injured.
Yeah, I don't think she's one of the more quiet survivors, so that is going to be a down onto Jules. Jules not able to force the oh, but here's Cybereye, and that is going to be the 4K4 and confirm the win of the Blight matchup for Paradox. So I believe that we're going to have to go and see what happens in game 2, but I guess we'll have to see what happens. Stay tuned, everyone.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Ashen Trials. We are continuing our week 1 matchup of Paradox versus Odyssey. Last time, Paradox managed to get a very, very clean win on the Blight, but this time around we have a much different but equally as fast killer, the Ghoul. We have Angels piloting the Ghoul on the side of Paradox against the Odyssey survivors on the Ormond Lake. We are starting off strong, getting an initial bite onto Covet, but not getting the full injury. But with the enraged state up, this still means that once the tokens are up, 3 slingshots and a inevitable bite's gonna come out. And yes, that is. I am joined by my co-caster Tyro. Tyro, what are your thoughts on this killer and this map in general, honestly?
Yeah, I actually really like this map. It's one of the better additions to the game, and Ghoul has been one of the rising stars of the comp scene in terms of sets. It's, like you said, kind of similar to Blight, very fast-paced, high action, strong killer, which are always fun to watch compared to some of the more weaker ones. And right off the bat, we're going to see a tag onto Blake as well, leaving 2 survivors in the injured state, which is going to be pretty critical later on if Angels goes for some heavy rotation-based macro play. And it does look like Cybereye is going to barely be able to avoid getting tagged there. due to the drop off. Very good use of that elevation, but at the same time, Angels in rage going to be getting that tag onto Cyberite as well, leaving 3 survivors injured. And now with only Jules as a healthy survivor, it's going to be very hard for Odyssey to go for some critical unhooks if Angels is able to get it down. But right off the bat, we're going to find Blake caught out here at this pallet, and it looks like Angels going to be trying to play for a tag, but Blake very expertly dropping that pallet right onto Angel's head. Does have another pallet here, but it looks like Angels is going to be trying to play around it. And yeah, oh my goodness, just barely missing that swing as Blake continues to go around and around this tile. They are trying to play around this pallet so heavily. Blake not going down though, going to be pathing over back towards the middle. Does not make the window though, and that is going to be the first down of the game. But it looks like Angels once more and is going to be getting that 4th and final injury onto Jules.
Yeah, the Ghoul really excels at taking these initial health stages off survivors, but they also have a pretty nice chase tool to get that follow-up attack to secure the down here. We are going to get a pain resonance on the board, but in the background, while Angels was just jumping around the place, getting all those injuries, Ruin is off the table, so that's a perk eliminated off the board pretty quickly. But with the eruption in your back pocket, I don't think Angels is missing out on much, honestly. And we're just going to use these dashes here to try and look for someone else. We are going to find Jules, the one survivor that was not included in the group reset. Definitely did not see the message in group chat there, missed the opportunity, and now they're kind of stuck on this not very great setup against Ghoul. Does have another pallet here, but it's not the strongest pallet in the entire world. Has to play a bunch of 50-50s, but is going to win in the end. And with the life, trying to reach over to the X-size pallet in the corner. And now Angels has to play around this pallet.
Oh.
But the tag goes off, and so does the eruption.
Yeah, Jules going to be going down, and that's going to be another injury onto Cybereye as Jules lays on the floor. And Angel's going to go right back and try to pick up that slug. And with that, I mean, that's going to be another injury and another mending state for the survivors. And now only Covet is healthy and able to try to go for any unhook plays if Angels so chooses to play very hook-centric moving forward. But I mean, that's going to be another pain res, but it's not going to come through in time as another generator pops. And now Angel's going to continue the onslaught, looking for a survivor in the area.
Definitely on hot pursuit of someone's scratch marks. Can't really tell who is exactly, but we're gonna find Covet instead of whoever scratch marks was there, because it was definitely someone bleeding. Like, there's definitely blood in there, but we're just gonna get the tag on the Covet and run away. This seems to be Angel's strat, really, to get those. Utilize the fact that Ghoul can get the early injuries very easily and just keep ping-ponging between survivors until they can find someone who's already injured and really pounce on that attack. Gonna pull up the arms once again, trying to get the injure on to Blake. Will get the bite eventually. And Jules is still on the hook. No one has quite rotated further on hook just yet, but I spoke a little too soon as now the unhook on Jules comes out. But Angel's kind of committing to Blake. Yeah, they will commit to Blake. Blake does have that one hook stage in them already. So another hook stage to get them to the second stage wouldn't be too bad for Angels. But Blake's kind of trapped here. This window isn't all that strong, honestly. Gonna pull up the tentacles once more, try and get the Kogune leap onto Blake, but Blake has to play around this pallet. Goes for the swing, but gets a stun instead, and Blake lives another day.
Yeah, Blake going to be continuously playing around these down pallets as well. Does kind of interrupt Covet on this generator up here on the top side of the map, but it looks like Angels is going to just continue around this. There is this pallet here, but it's not one of the stronger ones. And Angels with a power fake actually going to be getting the down onto Blake. And with that, we're probably going to see a hook pretty close to that gen that has high progress in main building as well.
Eruption tagged on the main building gen as well. We get a big chunk of Parker's off once another down hits. Blake on a pain resonance hook, but doesn't matter as Angels already used a token on them. So now they're just moving around the area, using the Kogune leap to traverse the map quickly and tag Eruption. So this is what I meant earlier by Angels not really missing Ruin. Yes, you miss the passive regression, which works wonders while you're injuring people and applying deep wounds, but having eruption on it as well, knowing that every down could potentially blow up every single gen on the map, depending on how many kicks Angels is willing to give, that's a lot of pressure to have there. Jewel's gonna get bitten behind Shaq, but Angels knows that this area is pretty safe against Ghoul unless they know how to do the really weird like Shaq thing that honestly I don't even really understand, and I don't play this killer ever, but like whatever, man. It's still gonna see Jules. Jules gonna drop the Shaq in front of Angel's face. That's a really strong survivor, a really strong resource for the survivors. Gone. And now they don't have anything else to work with besides this pallet by the hill, but will go down as Jules' death spot.
Yeah, but I do think that that might have bought enough time for a gen to pop in the meantime, and that eruption is going to proc across the map. But at the same time, I mean, we are going to see yet another. No, and I think Jules has actually already been pain res, so that's not going to be any regression on top of that eruption proc. But now Angels does have yet another person on Death Hook. Blake also on Death Hook. And it looks like Angels is just going to be applying that eruption to some generators nearby. But now this might be the tunnel out chase, which slows the game down to a halt for the survivors. But no, Angels actually going for the bite onto Covet in order to get that enraged off. And now I think this is going to be the chase that decides the game. If Jules is able to last just a bit longer for some of these other gens to pop, crucially, they might have a good result on their hands, but that is going to be a down here at the Shack. One gen does pop off in the distance, though, and now with 2 gens remaining, and this one at pretty high progress as well, we're going to have to see what the survivors are able to do.
Yeah, that's going to be 1 survivor off the board. 3 survivors left trying to finish this. The generators out. Angels using the enhanced Kagune leap to make it all the way to main building. Gonna catch Blake, trying to work on it, but will also find Cyberite, the only non-injured survivor remaining. But the the blast mine coming out, blinding Angels, delaying the eruption for a second, but still on the hunt. And Angels' gen spread is honestly fairly decent. They have sort of this line of generators going down across the map, which they can patrol effectively with the enhanced Kagune leap. They're going to get the bite onto Cyber, but Cyber has nothing really to work with, but is going to make this proud. I'm a big fat liar, Tyro. You know that? I'm lying. Oh, but they blocked the revolt from Cyberite, and that's going to be the death onto the hook on Cyberite. And now we see a pain res token come out.
Yeah, with that pain res, that's going to be some critical gen regression, as it looks like Covet on the Shack gen is going to be interrupted. So that is going to be pretty tough. One interesting thing to note about this map, as we keep seeing it happen, whenever you change from the... This is something I learned from the Hens tourney, I think. Whenever you change perspectives in spectator mode, it adds another layer of snow to the overlay. So that's why we're seeing it in a full blizzard right now. But yeah, the storm is not going to be calm, though, as Angels goes into the hot pursuit here of Blake, who is also on Death Hook, as another gen pops across the map.
1 generator left and 3 survivors still standing to try and finish this out. But Blake is not getting caught by the 3rd Kagune leap, as not quite enough time built to get that M1 off. Angel still sends it, but Blake is just that much quicker on the draw, as Angels now needs to run away, licking their wounds and trying to see if they can catch a reset happening, but the reset happens right under the hook, and that's going to be an freshly healed Covet and Cybereye. And Angels actually lost the enhanced state, so now they only have the 2 Kagune leaps to work with. They need to build their way back up to the enhanced leap. Okay, never mind. Covet will just vault the pallet directly into Angels. Forget all I was saying about the enhanced leap. They don't even need the 1 leap to get it down. Blake working on main building gen, but still injured and death hook. This could be very, very bad for Odyssey if Blake goes down here. Blake has this pallet to work with, though, but they decide to swing out on the outside, and they are going to make it back inside for the revault. Angels tries to catch it on the revault, but they're not going to be able to. Blake is just quicker on the revault, so now Blake has a little bit extra distance, makes it to this filler pallet, but this is not safe at all. 1 loss 50-50, or getting caught on the pile of snowballs spells the end for Blake, and now only 2 remain.
Yeah. Now with only 2 survivors up, it's going to be very crucial for all these chases in the remainder of the game in order to try to get as much progress as possible. That's going to be Covet tagged up though, and if Angels commits for Covet, I mean there is still a pain res on the board for Covet, but it looks like Angels is instead going to be going and trying to get that injury onto Cybereye, who is probably stealthed up in this area on the top side of the map. But I think Cyber's doing a pretty good job. But I think Cyber might have been there. Yeah, I mean, with the white on the shirt, it's kind of hard to see. But yeah, Cybereye going to be avoiding that tag and continuing the chase down here as Angels has to pursue on foot due to the cooldown of the power. But that is going to be, oh my goodness, Angels. Oh, but Cybereye kind of walks back into it, but that will allow Angels to be enraged yet again. But that injury is not coming through. And now Angel's going to be dropping the chase, trying to find Covet instead.
Gonna use the Kigune leaps to cross halfway across the map. Covet trying to look for clues in the snow mark, trying to see what went wrong this game. Constantly using the flashlight to try and search for the ghost of Christmas past, I guess. Angel's gonna swing through the pallet, not gonna catch Covet going through it, and is instead gonna leap all the way back to main building as they wanna catch Cybereye, who was working on this main gen. This main gen is very close to popping. But Angel's going to force Cybereye away. This does open the field up for Covet to try and get some work done. Cybereye is just going to hold themselves. Can we get a hole counter in chat? That's a hole for you. As Cybereye just dips to try and evade the Angel's Ghoul. And Angel's not opting to apply Eruption on this gem, by the way. Maybe they don't, they feel like
it might be regression blocked.
Oh, you're right. It might, you know, you're smart. You're a smart guy. You should do more of this casting stuff, bro.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. But we do have Angels in hot pursuit of Cybereye. Cybereye does have a window here, and it's not going to be enough for Angels to get that down. But it looks like, oh, but the body block coming through, and finally Cybereye is going to meet their end as the blind does happen on Angels. But now Angels going to be dashing right back to where he knows Covet was. Covet was kind of sneaking around on that gen on the bottom side of the map, but is going to be trying to stealth their way up towards the slug. And we do have Covet on this pallet right here, but can they do it enough in order to find an opening to maybe go over towards... Oh no, we see some blood. I think this is going to be the final chase, and Angels is going to be playing for that 4K1.
Yeah, Angels going to be 4K1. He's stuck in a wall.
Oh.
That
okay.
You know, small indie company, not a lot of money in this game, honestly. You know, just sort of a passion project, you know what I'm saying? Definitely not, you know, 5 years of spaghetti, 9 years of spaghetti code finally biting them in the butt.
Covet just shift-teching this pallet or this tile beautifully in order to get the maximum amount of vaults against Angels, just continuously going for it, but is going to wear their luck a little bit too thin, and that is going to be the down onto Covet, securing the 4K1 for Angels for Paradox.
Yeah, honestly, that match was did not go as I expected. Honestly, like at the start, Angels was just sort of flinging around, you know, Spider-Man style, getting all those tags. But honestly, throughout the middle of the game, it did feel like Odyssey were just popping gens in his face. But Angels was able to turn it around and get that 4K1 result in the end.
Yeah, and I think that this game is going to be a very important momentum shift if Odyssey on the killer is able to make a good enough result to get that 4K2 up against Paradox's survivors. That is going to be their win condition. So it's going to be a nail biter as we head into our potential last game of the night for the match. So stick around and we will be back in just a bit. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ashen Trials. We are in potentially the last game of the night as Paradox has set a win condition of a 4K2 for Cybereye. Definitely doable on the Ghoul, though, so this could be a nail biter, and Odyssey definitely wants to take us to the tiebreaker set. So Cybereye going to be in hot pursuit here, but is going to be stunned by Angels before I can even introduce my co-caster Monarch. Monarch, what do we think about this high impact killer?
Well, it's a very high cortisol killer. Definitely going to
Oh my
spike
god.
your cortisol levels. What am I looking at, bro? What? Just holding out the thing, waiting for the grab on the angel's meat, I guess. That's going to be very early in rage. I do notice a very interesting addition. Turn back the clock. I am honestly not sure of how good this perk is considered in comp, but if Cybereye is willing to run it, then there's got to be some merit to it. Cybereye is caught on a bit of a filler pallet, but Gree will just drop the pallet in directly Cybereye's face. So that's going to be the injure. Now Green not wanting to fully commit downstairs for the fear of a potential Cybereye grab, but is going to get the revolt right in Cybereye's face. And now they have some distance to work with, but I don't know what else they can make. They will end up making this TNL, but that's also like 3 other survivors of Paradox found anyway, so I don't think this is the right direction. Yeah, I think Greave's just going to try and shift the direction maybe a little bit, but they're still running into basically every single gen that's being completed so far. They are going to lose the enraged state from Cybereye, but they have a pallet. This pallet is surprisingly strong. Never mind, man.
Should never compliment tiles. It's a slippery slope. But at the same time, we're going to see Deco on the slippery slope popping a gen, and Cybereye going to be carting Gree over towards this pain res hook. It's not going to hit that gen. It's actually going to hit that middle gen that Angels was working. Angels fully injured, going to be running over towards the safety of Shack.
Oh, hi,
but
Angels.
it does look like Cybereye is going to find Angels and try to play around this palette. Like you said, it is surprisingly strong, but at the same time, Cybereye just trying to get the bearing, but that is going to be Angels in hot pursuit around the Shack. Can Angels go for a long time? It does not matter, as Cybereye is going to go back for the tunnel out chase.
Cybereye trying to get back into that enraged state for the third Kagune leap. Will successfully get the bite onto Deco, getting the mark on them. Another gen pops, and that's so far, we're getting really close to the win condition here, with 3 generators left remaining, and only 1 hook onto Gree, as Angels is yeah, I say they only have 1 hook on the Gree, and they immediately get the hook down onto Angels. I legitimately thought that a balanced landing was coming out for a second. I'm not actually sure if exhaustion perks are allowed in this set. I'm not fully sure. That's not my job to know. Oh, okay, thank you, Tyro. You're really smart, man.
Yeah, I've played the comp DVD every now and then.
I see.
But that is going to be Cybereye chasing Deco now. Deco going to be running towards the safety of main building. Main building actually really strong against Ghoul if you play it right. And it looks like Deco is going to be trying to play around this window. This window can be a little bit tricky for the Ghoul player as long as you do not fall for any fakes onto it like that. So that is going to be very good for Deco to make some distance, as Cybereye is going to be breaking that door and continuing the chase up on the top side of main. This gen was already popped though, so that's going to be exactly where you want to take this chase. And now Deco going to be playing around the safety of this pallet. Cybereye actually going to be dropping the power and trying to play around it, and Deco actually giving up the pallet control, but will be getting the stun on Cybereye. Cybereye going to go, rather than chase Deco, going to go back towards the middle of the map, where we do see another survivor on a generator, but it is going to be Inno going to barely go down to that swing, as Cybereye will claim another fresh hook.
That is twice so far that Cybereye has been stunned, like during a mid Kagune leap, going through a pallet, and then the survivors just drowning, like dropping the pallet on their head. It's pretty funny to watch when it happens. It's like floating. It's like floating a fly out of the sky. It's really funny to watch here. We're back to the window of doom and despair, as Cybereye this time not going to fall for any tricks or anything. Deco now no longer has really anything to work with. Can they make this pallet in time? No, they cannot, and that's just to be a grab for Cybereye. And meanwhile, there has a ton of progress on other gens so far. Like, I don't think we've seen Angels in a bit. I don't think we've seen Green in a bit either. So they can definitely just be working and cranking out gens at the moment. And I think Cybereye kind of needs if Cybereye really wants to bring us to that third killer game, I think that they're going to need to put a bit of gas on the pedal on the gas right now. We are going to get chased onto Innocence, but Innocence still has the Shack pallet to play around. Cybereye trying to go for the Shack thingy you do with the Ghoul and they use the 3 dashes. Again, I don't know how to do it, but it looks sick as fuck on Twitter. Gonna go for the revolt, gonna go vault again on the outside, trying to catch Inno off guard, but Inno is built different. They are not falling for that. The medium vault coming out and the swing still not connecting. Cyber realizing that this chase is taking way too much time and they just need to find something else to do.
Yeah, Cyber can't let another gen pop. We do see the double coming out on this side of the map. It looks like Gree is going to be walking out in the open, maybe to try to take Cyber away while Deco goes and works on it. But at the same time, we're going to see the God Palette getting broken here. And now Gree going to be running downstairs. But it looks like Cyber tried to fake maybe a drop down onto Gree. And as a result, oh, it does look like Deco is actually going to be here instead. But I mean, yeah, Cyber's just going for the tag on Deco instead of getting the down onto Gree. And that's going to allow Inno, who is across the map, to continue working on this generator. But it does look like Cyber is going to find Inno on this middle gen. And now it looks like the check spots are going to be immaculate from Inno as Inno continues to play around this TNL. Cyber trying to get some mind games off, but at the same time, it's not going to be enough. Going to be trying to use the power to get a cutoff, but instead is going to be getting the tag, granting the speed boost to Inno and putting them into deep wounds. And we already saw the gen pop. The best that Cyber can hope for now is a tie, and that means that he has to get all 4 survivors down quick.
Yeah, but the way that this is looking so far, I don't mean to insult players or anything, but it doesn't look like 4 like really rapid downs is gonna happen. As yeah, with Inno getting that body block from Angels, now that last gen is gonna pop straight in Cyberite's face, and Paradox is gonna walk away with this match with the dub, taking him the Ghoul set as well. Cyberite now is just trying to hunt for the last little bits of like any sort of progress that he can get, maybe a hook stage more or 2. Like, they have Deco kind of trapped in this underground area. Deco just gonna send it with the life, but Cyberite has the means to catch up, but another pallet stands in their way as Deco's just gonna take the vault onto that pallet. Ooh, but Cyberite fakes going one way, goes for the other way, and that's gonna be a down onto Deco. Are Paradox gonna go for this, or are this gonna be like, yeah, no, you're on your own, buddy, psych?
I think that they're probably just going to be taking the outs as they continue to move forward. I don't think that we are going to see a save. I mean, they might try a save attempt just for fun here. I don't know. It looks like they might be going for it as they are resetting. Oh, but Cyber finds it.
Cyber's gonna find Angels, the only one that actually got reset in the end, but all other Paradox survivors are swarming the area, going in, trying to save Private Deco there. Angels and Gree take the initial aggro, but Cyberite does the quick maths and realize that there's still one survivor that could have slipped through. That would be Innocence. Innocence went the other way as Cyberite was chasing Angels, but I'm not sure where he went. I thought he'd be around main building now, but he is nowhere near. Gree's gonna get another pallet stun onto Cyberite. Angel's gonna go for main as well as Deco. They're just gonna get Deco off, but this leaves Green kind of an awkward position as they do have the double pallet to set up to play around. But it's not the strongest in the entire world, and that's gonna be a down on to Gree. But Deco is alive and well. I wonder if they can contribute to getting Gree off the hook, or they're gonna go just take what they can. They already won.
Yeah, Cyber going to be claiming the hook onto Gree, but in the meantime, they're still resetting over here where the unhook happened. They might try to get a last-minute save, and yeah, it looks like Angels is kind of set up in the area for maybe a balanced landing play of some sort. Cyber not able to quite sniff him out, but yeah, Cyber trying his best to claim this last hook stage by just face camping Gree. But yeah, here comes the teammates going to be trying to set up for this save. Can they manage to do it? Yeah, it looks like they're going to be coming from all different sorts of directions. I mean, we do have a pretty interesting hook placement as well. So yeah, Cyber not quite going to get that tag, and as a result, that's not going to be an injury. And now with Gree with borrowed time, going to be setting up for another set of body blocks, and that is going to allow Deco to make it out this door at the bottom side. Amazing body blocks coming through from Inno, but at the same time, it looks like Cyber now has swapped the game plans to body blocking Inno from getting out of the game.
Oh,
but I don't
Green
think
has
it's gonna
joined them
be enough.
too.
Green,
Green,
Green now gonna be body blocked, but it's not gonna be
Green
enough.
joined the side
And
of the
that
killer
is
for a second.
going to be the 4 outs. So yeah, fantastic play from Team Paradox. They are going to take the 2-0 as we move on into week 1. So fantastic play from both teams there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Paradox played very well, having very good gen efficiency on their survivor side, as well as having just pretty nutty killers all around. With that Blight performance from earlier, so that will mean that Paradox walks away with the win here. So that will be it for the matches for today. But stick around tomorrow; we will have some more matches set up for you guys. I have been Monarch, and thank you, Tyro, for joining me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, and I can't wait to see what happens in the rest of the Ashen League, Ashen Trials games. So be sure to join the Discord and take note of all the ones coming up.